Hi, my name is Chantelle and I'm interviewing my mom about the 1970s for my history assignment.
Hi, my name is Angie Lam. I was born in Vietnam and I came to Australia in the late 1970s as a refugee. What would you like to know, Chantelle?
Could you first start by describing the lifestyle of Vietnam, Mom?
Vietnam was not a peaceful country. Vietnam was part of the French Empire in Southeast Asia. After the Second World War, France was unable to control the area and withdrew in 1954. Vietnam was divided into two parts. The north was communist, the south was not. The Americans had become involved in Vietnam before the French left in 1954.
Yes, I understand that during this time, the People's Republic of China supported the North and the United States supported the South. The Vietnam War ended with the fall of Saigon in April 1975 and Vietnam became a communist country.
After the Americans and French left, everything was horrible. Many people were having financial crisis. The Vietnamese government took all the valuable things that belonged to the local people. People were thrown in jail for buying or using from overseas because they were not Vietnamese made. My bicycle was taken away by the communist police.
Oh, no. Tell us more about it.
The police came and looked at my bike. It looks like it is from overseas, they said, and so they just seized it and used it themselves. There was no protection for the local. The police could do anything they wanted. They abused their power. They snatched food and valuables from the people whenever they liked.
But why didn't the people complain?
No one dared to complain. The police had supreme power and they could change the law at any time to support their nasty ways. If you complained, you would be put in jail or get tortured.
Tell me, Mom, how did you go to school during wartime?
Well, even though there were battles, they took place in the countryside, so life went on in the urban areas. I went to a school where Vietnamese and English were taught.
What sort of social life was there in the 1970s?
People still went to movies and enjoyed music. Most of the pop songs in Vietnam were actually pop songs from overseas, like the U.K. in Australia and Hong Kong. The people took the melody and translated the lyrics into Vietnamese. Most of these songs were sad and I did not really enjoy them.
What about festivals and celebrations?
Vietnam has its ancestry from China and we celebrated mainly Chinese festivals, such as the Moon Festival in autumn and Chinese New Year. There would be dragon dances and lots of cakes and special foods in Chinese New Year.
What about sports?
At school we did rope skipping a lot, and the boys played soccer. Most people enjoyed swimming because Vietnam is hot most of the time.
I think most Australians enjoyed swimming too in the 1970s. Of course they enjoyed rugby and cricket too. What about food? What sort of food was eaten in Vietnam in the 1970s?
The main diet has always been noodles. Vietnamese love noodles.
Is it the same as what we get here in Vietnamese restaurants?
Yes, quite similar. We also had lots of French food because we were under the French from 1859 until the Second World War.
Oh, I see. That's why there are lots of Vietnamese bread shops selling French bread.
My favorite food was noodles. We called it pho. I also enjoyed salads and beef.
What about fashion? Did you wear those traditional Vietnamese long dresses and the triangular hats?
We only wear those for special occasions. We wore t-shirts and jeans most of the time. Before the communists took over, we were very Americanized. So we followed American fashion then.
So when and how did you come to Australia?
Life was becoming very difficult in Vietnam and my family and I escaped to Malaysia and declared ourselves as refugees. We arrived in Melbourne in the late 1970s and later we moved to Sydney.
How was life then in Australia?
It was of course much better as compared to the lifestyle of Vietnam. Although there were some unfriendly people who rejected us, many that we met were very friendly and kind. The educational system was much better and we were given lots of opportunity to blend in with the Australians.
Yes, I know that the 1970s was a period of radical changes in Australia. In 1974 the White Australia policy was scrapped. Women won the right to equal pay and maternity leave, and Indigenous people made progress on land rights.
Yes, unfortunately, The prime minister who led some of these reforms was dismissed suddenly. His name was Gough Whitlam. It was because there were too many scandals against him.
Who then became prime minister?
Malcolm Fraser from the Liberal National Party. He was a good prime minister because he was a strong supporter of indigenous rights, and he also allowed more refugees and people from Asia, and supported multiculturalism.
Thank you so much, Mom, for helping me with my history project. It is my pleasure, Chantelle.